War Report family, it's your boy Mike G here with Caesar and B Will. Happy Monday, everybody. We are here to talk about coaching rumors. A lot has happened over the weekend. We had a lot that came out, and it was widely being spread around and reported that, in true Auburn fashion, there was some meddling going on behind the scenes, and there were some power grabs and some power struggles to make certain people head coach. So we're gonna go ahead and dive right into this. Caesar, you want to talk a little bit about what we heard this weekend?
I'll keep it very high level. Basically, it came out over the weekend that there was this elaborate plot that started 2 years ago that was going to result in Gus being fired and Kevin Steele being promoted from defensive coordinator to head coach, and Rodney Gardner being promoted from defensive line coach to defensive coordinator. That was the plan. And as people begin to talk more about this plan coming to fruition, it drove a lot of anger from Auburn fans, because we always knew there had been meddling behind the scenes for years, going back as far as the Bobby Louder days and even before then. But to see it happen now and to cause us to potentially miss out on good coaching candidates because of some hidden agenda that's been in play for 2 years has angered a lot of fans. So that's the high level. I'll pass it to you. You can kind of fill in where I didn't.
Well, of course, the problem with this is that it clearly looks like a lot of the big money boosters have their sights set on Coach Steele as the head coach. It makes the program look bad because now we get a view of maybe what Gus was dealing with behind the scenes. But not only that, if you hear that the boosters who are bankrolling the program say that they want a certain guy, then of course head coaching candidates who were going to interview for the position are now backing out. Sarkisian has bagged out of his interview and canceled it to the tune of a raise over at Alabama as the OC. Napier has backed out he's pulled his name out of the running because he said, no, thank you. Apparently he didn't like the idea of, as it's being reported now, this is still going to be somewhat rumor. Is that right, Caesar?
Well, according to JG Tate of the Brain Drain, basically he was part of the plan was he couldn't pick his entire staff, right? So he wouldn't have full autonomy over basically choosing his own guys on the defensive side of the ball, I'm assuming. So what we believe to be true is the plan is in play that while Kevin Steele is out as head coach, he's not out in terms of being the defensive coordinator. And probably the same could be said about Gardner as well. So upon hearing that, he walked out because this is, again, symptomatic of the meddling going on with those behind the scenes. And it's caused us to miss out on, as you mentioned, Sark. It caused us to lose out on Napier. Tony Elliott didn't even want an interview,
Right.
reportedly, so he's out. Cristobal, apparently there was even a deal trying to be struck up with him. He's out. So we're losing out on guys who could really take our talent and take our program and put us in the driver's seat to be competitive because of the meddling. And it's kind of frustrating to see that because we know Auburn is a top school. It's a top program. But because of the meddling, it's become a very unattractive job. And you got to remember, Billy Napier is coaching at Louisiana Lafayette. For you to stay at Louisiana Lafayette and not double, triple your salary at the very least to go coach at Auburn, where you have a lot of talent around you, is very telling about those who are meddling and putting basically micromanaging our football program. And it's making it less attractive for candidates who could come in and really take our program to the next level.
Yeah, I want to interject a point about where we're at based on what you guys just said, right? Coaching talent, prospective coaching talent, they're turning down the opportunity to come to Auburn, right? Because, if you're Billy Napier, if I'm him, this is a bet on myself, right? I'm not going to come in and let you tell me how to paint the picture. right?
Right.
I'm going to choose the colors. I'm going to choose the subject. I'm going to do it myself or not at all, right? And any coach worth a damn is probably going to say that, right?
Right.
Which worries me about the eventual hire that we're going to end up with, right? Is that person essentially agreeing to be a puppet, right? I said in one of our other segments on this that I felt like it just seems to me, I made a prediction that Steele would be the next head coach. It looks like that it's being reported that he's out. But the reason I said that was it seems like whatever plan they're coming up with involves Steele.
Sure.
It feels like he's going nowhere no matter what. So did they tell Billy Napier, listen, you can come in and do what you want on offense, but you're keeping Kevin Steele and this defensive staff, right? And Napier said, no dice. No, thank you. I'll move on. Thanks, but no thanks. And that's significant. So, with Sark, right, and Napier out, who quite honestly were two of the more attractive candidates in the group that we had, right? I think can we agree on that those two were probably the headliners on that list of coaches, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm leaving out Cristobal because I don't think he was ever a serious candidate. I think his agent put his name out there to get him a raise. I mean, he was the first one out of the process, so I'm leaving him out. He didn't interview, right? So that leaves us with Bill Clark and Bill Clark.
Well, and so
who's left? Like who's left between Clark and Steele, right?
Kevin Steele.
So that brings up a good point. Now, even though I have been big on Bill Clark since 2018, now, like you said, Mike, anybody who takes this job now, we're going to know that you got your hands tied. So can Bill Clark even pull off some success or some magic similar to what he did at UAB if he's got one hand tied behind his back? Or can any coach they get? Either now we're in a position where you can get a good coach that does not have the autonomy, or you're going to get Kevin Steele.
Right.
And maybe a mystery third option where you can't get anybody, so you have to pay up to get a really, really big name. And again, I didn't like the idea of a Bob Stoops or Urban Meyer, but with the caveat that they say, you got nobody, right? I'll do it, and you're going to do it my way.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Pay out the wazoo for it. That's it. Like now you've got no options. You are at ground zero. So either you get Kevin Steele, Auburn admin, who it was already brought to light that you were finagling behind the scenes to get. You can get him, make him your head coach, and look terrible in the process because it makes everything that was reported look true. Or you can let me save the program. Give me the reins, give me the money, give me the control, and stay out of my way. And it seems to be that those are the three options right now.
Let me ask you guys this. What happens if Kevin Steele and staff stays on in some capacity? What will Auburn fans do? Because Auburn fans are already upset with how this coaching process has played out. Number one, you fire Gus Malzahn and pay him $21 million to walk away, and you come up with a terrible plan. You already tank what was already a bad recruiting class, make it even worse because there's no coach in place. And then you come up with this terrible plan to try to promote Kevin Steele, which basically gets outed by the press with the help of some fans behind the scenes.
Right.
And so now the fans are upset with Kevin Steele. They don't want Kevin Steele on the team because there's going to be a concern that whoever takes the head coaching job may not fully have Steele and Gardner or who else in their pocket, basically, right? They're basically considered puppets for the boosters based on the news that is leaked. So as fans, how do we react to this news if Kevin Steele stays on in any capacity with this program?
Right.
What do we do as fans?
I mean, I think that's the big question. Like, where do we go from here? I'm still seeing that Brent Venables is kind of like a long shot here in the background. He's a strong recruiter. If you saw what Clemson did to Notre Dame defensively, in the ACC championship, that would, I think that would save the recruiting class that we have if they made a hire like that. I don't know how seriously interested he would be in the job, given all the things that we just mentioned about control. Now, he's never been a head coach before, but do you want that to be your first head coaching job?
Right.
Your hands are tied, and then you're sabotaged, and then potentially, your first major head coaching job was a failure through mostly no fault of your own, right? Because people who are not football people are making decisions about football. Now I saw something about this search committee. As of course Bo Jackson is on it, Alan Green is on it. There's a few, there's some names on there, right? And to me, all of that is a sham. It's a show.
Farce. Yep.
Yeah.
Right. It's a show.
Absolutely.
Right. Let's not pretend like these people have any real influence on who gets hired. We know the money's talking here. And it really is. This has delved into a clown show. Right. Like this
pretty nicely
awful what we're seeing right now. So there'll be some updates in the coming days, I'm sure. But you've been real high on Bill Clark this whole process, right? Like you've been real high on Bill Clark, and I can tell you after I had not looked into Bill Clark much until you started pumping him, right? And then I was like, you know what, this guy might actually be the right guy. Brian might be on to something. But now I feel like after like researching and reading about what a great guy, what a good coach he is, I think I want better for him than this.
Yeah. And that's the other part is
right.
And if you like a certain coach, if you feel like, man, one of these guys, whether it's Napier and Clark were the natural fits because they were up and coming, they still kind of had the hunger. Anybody coming from a better situation and a better talent pool, and I'm including Venables and Elliott, and if you bought into the Bob Stoops and Urban Meyer whispers, those guys have had more to work with.
Right.
So they would have been a little more demanding. It made more sense for us to get an up-and-comer like Napier and like Bill Clark. They would have cost us less as first-time SEC coaches.
Yeah.
And they are used to working with at least a little bit less. Like Napier might have more control at Louisiana Lafayette, but he doesn't have the access to the type of talent that he will here. So it's discouraging to me to see us strike out with somebody who would have been a prime candidate because of the nonsense going on behind the scenes. Like, I don't want that for Napier, and I'm kind of glad he got out. I don't want that for Bill Clark. I don't want him to sully his reputation and his career path because he couldn't just get the tools to get the job done without conceding something in the process. It makes me like you guys. Now, even if we get somebody that's not terrible, and I don't know who that is, you're going to be wondering as a fan, if we start losing some games, if we start striking out on some recruits, what was the real cause of this? Like, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, and we never really did. But players came out in support of Gus after he was fired, said it's a lot going on that y'all don't see. And now we're seeing it. Now we see it in real time, and we're like, we're screwed.
Right.
And I think as fans, we deserve better. I mean, we're the ones paying, we're the ones giving our Saturdays for this product. And you got to ask yourself, if you're pumping all the money into Auburn football, you should want a better return on your investment. You should be getting more bang for your buck. And you're driving the program into the ground. And something Mike said over a week ago, you need to get out of the way if you love and care about Auburn football. Auburn fans love and care about Auburn football, especially those who attended this university. We care about this institution. We don't want people who are incompetent and do not understand how a football program is run, trying to run a football program. Get out of the way, as Mike alluded to over a week ago, and let the people who are experienced in doing this do this. And if not, Auburn fans should demand better and should demand more, and there should be action taken if no changes are being made, if this foolishness continues.
Yeah, you know what? I agree 100%. I just think, the war report exists because of the passion that, exists around athletics at a place like Auburn, right? And we have to demand better. Thank God for the media, right? Because that is one of our only tools against some of the backhanded things that have happened over the years. This stuff comes to light, and then it puts some accountability on the process, right? On the integrity of the process, and that's what's, I think that we have bemoaned as fans over the years is, where is the integrity in the process? Because everybody is trying to boost their ego behind the scenes. People whose name, I said it once, I'll say it again. Not once have we ever won a football game and I've been like, man, we got the best board of trustees ever. Never, not one time, right? I don't care about you. I care about the guys on the field and the guys teaching those guys how to be on the field to win football games. So, we've got a lot to talk about, around this subject in the coming days. There will be tons of updates, I'm sure. We've been selected for a bowl game. We'll be going to the Citrus Bowl. It looks like we're playing Northwestern, as expected. And so between now and then, the plan is for Steele to coach that bowl game. But between now and then, the hiring a coach is going to have a profound effect on how they close out this recruiting class. Right. And they have to get this right. My confidence that they will is low at this point, but we'll be back once they make a decision to let you guys know. As always, we are the War Report. Please like and subscribe so you can get notifications about when we're going live or putting content out for you. We are also the War Report on Twitter and Instagram, TW Report on TikTok. We'll be back at you guys Wednesday with a live, and we're going to talk a little bit about the college playoff, football playoff race, as well as recap the SEC championship game, which was probably one of the better ones that we've seen in a while. So until Wednesday, we're out. Fellas, any closing words?
We want to hear from you guys. Drop comments and below. We want to hear from you what your thoughts are, and we love to have conversations with y'all about this. So feel free to comment and let us know what you're thinking.
Absolutely. But still, War Eagle.
War Eagle.
War Eagle.